What's up, and welcome to episode 270 of First Geek 411. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin, and with me, as always, from West Coast, Best Coast, is Emma. How are you doing?
Hi, doing good. Cannot complain. It's a good week.
Nice. And also with us, as always, from the Great White North, Shanine. How are you doing?
Doing good.
This week, we got Alien Romulus, horror games, and then we got some movie news with Deadpool and Wolverine, as well as Acolyte not getting a season 2. And of course, before we get into that, we'll also catch up on what we have been up to. As always, you can find us at our social media as OneGeek411. Join that Discord server. Shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Watch live on Twitch and YouTube Monday nights around 6:45 Mountain Time. And find a Redbubble store. All that said, let's get into what we have been up to. Emma, why don't you kick us off?
It's been a very quiet week for me, so most of my life has been D&D related. Um, at least in the past 7 days. It was a very chaotic session at Cantrip Candles on Tuesday. The three hags down to one hag that we had dealt with came back to bite us in the butt, and the one hag came back with four more hags and set our town on fire, and it was a problem. And so now we get to deal with that tomorrow. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
The hags are multiplying.
The hags are multiplying. We defeated 66% of them, and then the 33% left over like quadrupled its numbers, and it's a terrible thing. Problems are occurring. So yeah, there's been a lot of chatter about how we're going to deal with that. And then the other campaign we're going to play again next weekend, this coming weekend, question mark? I think so. Or the following weekend, whatever. We're gonna play soon. Very exciting. So yeah, lots of D&D, and I love it. And then, as I like to say, living here in LA, it's officially spooky season when the Halloween Horror Nights billboards go up, and the Halloween Horror Nights billboards are officially up. So it is officially spooky season. And if anyone doesn't know, I go every year with friends, and it is fabulous. And one of my best friends from Seattle is gonna come down to LA this
That's
year,
cool.
and we're gonna go together, and it's gonna be fabulous. And I'm so excited. So I just wanted everyone to know that Halloween Horror Nights is gonna be my personality for the next 3 months.
Are there any of the houses that you're looking forward to?
They haven't announced all of them yet. One of the big ones they have, though, is A Quiet Place, and that's going to be a lot of fun. They change up so they, like a lot of places, have like a studio tour just as part of the general the theme park, and they set up like a little, they turn that into a theme every year, and it's a good warm-up one. And I think that's what they're gonna do The Quiet Place for, but it's going to be a lot of fun either way. And I'm just excited to go with friends, as always, especially a friend who like is coming from out of town to go. So yeah, that's it. Quiet week, but exciting things.
Shanine, what about you?
And watching My Lady Jane on Prime, which sadly has already been canceled, but the first season was really excellent and wraps up the storyline. So I still recommend watching it.
Must be nice.
Um, yeah, it's like A Knight's Tale vibes.
Is that the one with like shape-shifting people and like...
And yes,
Okay.
it also does have shape-shifting animal stuff. But yeah, I don't know. historical fantasy with like sassy modern day dialogue and soundtracks are just like right up my alley. I've also been busy reorganizing my bookshelf. I had so many stacks of books on my floor that needed a home. And I was gonna initially just like shift one shelf up and then have space for all of them there. But then that shelf contained books that were too tall to go on the top shelf. So then I couldn't just like switch that one over somewhere else. I had to reorganize all of the shelves. I think like two of my shelves ended up staying in their original locations and everything else got shifted somewhere new. But it was worth it. All my books have a home again.
Nice.
And it looks nice. And it makes me feel happy.
What is your bookshelf organization strategy?
By genre and then alphabetical by author's last name.
I go by vibes.
I was going to say, sometimes the genres are a little loosey-goosey and a little bit by vibes. Like, technically, there are some books that should be in other categories, but I put them where I want them to go. That's just how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also GM'd Daggerheart this weekend.
Whoop whoop.
Woo. They had an encounter and killed a bunch of city guards. And they said they tried very hard not to kill them. And I think that they should have tried harder or differently.
We tried to not kill them, they say, as they have only their weapons out and rolled no like persuasion or anything like that. Like,
I'm just saying, you're standing in a place where they are about to be investigating a very notorious criminal in the sketchiest part of town, and you're standing there sassing them. It's not gonna go well.
When would it ever go well?
Yeah, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions.
I was gonna say, if it isn't the actions of your own consequences.
That works too.
Which also, yeah.
That's always like the fun D&D thing of it's like or TTRPG thing. Like, you can do that. I'm not gonna stop you, but yeah. For me, over in the world of tabletop RPGs, I had the desire to finally go and pick up some of the latest Marvel Multiverse stuff. So I got my copies of Deadpool Roleplays the Marvel Universe.
Nice.
And then my copy of the X-Men expansion for Marvel Multiverse. And I'm kind of back on my reading through the Cataclysm of Kang campaign. I will say I have finished reading through Deadpool Roleplays the Marvel Universe, and I love this form factor as a one-shot. Like, it's like a set of encounters and like plot hooks and all of that kind of stuff, and it's just like a really cool that like fitting the theme. It's kind of like a graphic novel, like just kind of like form factor wise, and so that's really cool. I will say I have a bone to pick with Barnes and Noble and how they organize their things, because so we have beef. So we went to one of them. It's a 2-story Barnes and Noble, which one, fantastic, well done, super cool. The problem that I have is on the first floor, that's where like the board games and like collectibles, like that type of stuff are. Like, there's books there too, but like that's where the board games and stuff is. but that's not where tabletop RPGs are.
That's weird.
So to find tabletop RPGs, you have to go upstairs. And tabletop RPGs are in the fantasy section, along with like video game books, like, or books like about video game IPs, as well as like art books and stuff like that. They're all in the fantasy section. Like, okay, sure, whatever, except for Deadpool roleplays the Marvel Universe, which is on the opposite side of the floor in the comic book section. So I'm over here like, the website says they have it. Where is it? And it's on a completely different section. It's also not with the the edge or the like the aisle thing display for Deadpool that they have because of Deadpool and Wolverine. It is just on the shelf with the comics. And like, is there, I tell them, is there like a comic that it opens with? Yes, sure. It has like a 4-page introductory comic that's really fun. But the other like 40 something pages are tabletop RPG. Why is it not with the tabletop RPGs? I rest my case.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Yeah. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I care about this way more than I should.
Thank you for having a TED Talk.
And then outside of that, in the world of random other geeky stuff, been playing a little bit more Dredge, working my way through that, as well as some Zenless Zone Zeros. And then on Saturday, we met up with my dad and baby brother for a sushi. And then afterwards, we taught them Wormspan. And super proud of my baby brother. I say baby brother, he's like a senior in college. But like, he won on his first try after learning the game, so props to him. And then Sunday was Deanna and my anniversary. And so we went to one of the local like downtown areas and kind of walked around. We found a cool local bookstore. So we like walked around that. We did some window shopping, all kinds of stuff like that. And then we went and did a wine tasting. And then after that, came back home and streamed some Lego Star Wars as a nice, like, chill vibe to celebrate with. And so, overall, fantastic anniversary, and we had a lot of fun. So, a pretty good week with lots of geeky stuff there. So, let's jump into our news topics for the week. Emma, you got some stuff for us. What's the first spook that we have?
I got a thing that I jokingly yelled at Cameron for stealing from me. How dare you?
Hey,
Rude.
I was there first. Is it my fault that like I create the show notes and can add things to it at the same time? I mean, who's to say?
Come on, man. No, I'm just kidding. Happy Alien Romulus week, everybody. We love a good space horror movie. And by we, I mean I and everyone else here.
I've never seen an Alien movie, to the surprise
Cameron
of no
shakes his head. Shanine shrugs.
And me either.
I love them.
Really?
It's on my list.
Yes.
Okay.
I
No, really, in the sense
genuinely
that
love
Shanine
the
had not
Alien
seen
movies.
Yes,
Oh,
on
oh.
Shanine having not seen them. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say
So.
this shouldn't be a big surprise.
Yeah, I'm not surprised
They-
about you, but
I do intend to get there eventually.
I highly recommend. I am obsessed with them. I love a good monster horror, and Alien is like the perfect sweet spot because it's monster and space. Like, how cool is that? So cool. But anyway, Alien Romulus just came out this week, and it's doing really well overall. And by that, I mean it's like review-wise, it's top 3 of all the Alien movies in terms of positive reviews. It's like a solid 81% positive, which is great. It is doing in the box office for a budget of 80 million. Its domestic has gotten 42 million, so a little over half of its budget back, and then 108 million worldwide, which is great. it's surpassed its budget with a worldwide box office, which is great. Um, Nothing like the movie at all that we talked about last week, which was Borderlands, that did terribly.
Rip Borderlands.
Rip Borderlands. Um, this basically, from the articles I've read, is a return to the classic Alien format of a bunch of people trapped on a spaceship with your xenomorphs hunting after them, and that's what people want because it's doing well. People want the spooky alien monsters chasing after a bunch of people on a spaceship. Who would have thought? And one of the things I'm going to talk about this because I'm obsessed with it. That's one of my favorite things. They, for the Alien franchise, has been known to, from the beginning, use practical effects. In the modern world of CGI, they have not made the shift to CGI. They have continued to use practical effects and have guys in giant, uncomfortable costumes with heavy masks and things going after the actors. And that's what makes it good because the actors know what they're interacting with and can respond accordingly, and the audience can tell that the thing they're looking at was there in real life, even if there was CGI stuff added on after. Like, it's great. And as a movie person in the movie industry, I am all for practical effects, and why don't we use them more often? It makes it so much more real. And it's great. And movies like this are great evidence of why we should use practical effects. People would think it's expensive, but no, this movie was literally made on an $80 million budget. That is not like the most insane budget on the planet for a movie.
Which is crazy to say, but like...
Which is crazy to say. You would think it would be. When I'm saying Alien plus practical effects in the same sentence, you would think, oh, that's gonna be an insane budget. No, 80 million, well, yes, that's a lot of money, but for a movie that's a Hollywood movie, that's... I've known bigger other movies that had a bigger budget than that you would think would have a smaller budget, but no. So anyway, I will always vouch for practical effects, and everyone go see Alien because I love it, and it's my favorite spook movie.
So I'll say the only thing I've seen in the Alien franchise is Prey, which is like one of the Predator movies. That's the only one I've seen. I really liked it. That was the like set in like following like a Native American, and so like that one was really cool. Alien has just like always creeped me out to the point that like I feel like as a kid who had not seen the movie, like I saw commercials for it and had nightmares about the xenomorph.
Yeah.
Like having not even seen it, like
which is valid.
Yeah.
Like, and also I'm just gonna say, Prey is in the Predators.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, I said one of the. I mean, they're connected. It's one universe.
They're connected,
but
most people will say they're different franchises.
I mean,
same universe, different franchises.
Yeah, there's a movie that has both of them in it. They're one franchise.
Yes.
Like, and
I
with
will
that,
be that actually person.
Yeah. There are some conversations going around about the director of this and the director of Prey co-directing a new Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, the director of Romulus wants to direct a new one with the Predators director, and I'm so down for that. Because I also love the Predators movies, just not as much as Alien because I saw Alien first, and that's more spacey than Predators. So, you know, I like my space. If that wasn't plainly obvious by the Doctor Who shirt I'm wearing.
Yeah. What's up? 11, welcome in, rating party. Bad Gamer Elite, thank y'all for coming in. We are in the middle of our podcast talking about some of the news for this week. I appreciate you bringing people in, Lim. Hope everybody had a great evening. We want to know, what have you been playing, reading, watching? What geeky things have you been up to this week? And then also wanted to say, have you seen Alien Romulus? If so, what did you think of it? And then really happy to have you all here. We are just a place to chat about all the geeky things. We do have some of our links in the Discord or in the chat if you want to ever join us on Discord, other social media, stuff like that. Appreciate y'all all being here and hope whatever it is that y'all are up to was a ton of fun. But welcome in. Shanine, let's go over to you for our next topic for the evening.
All right. I, too, am on Team Spooky. Blumhouse, which people may know from movies such as Oculus and other horror films like that, has also started a video game branch, putting out lots of horror indie games. They've got some games that I think sound pretty cool, especially Grave Seasons, which is going to be a farming life game where one of the townspeople is a serial murderer. I heard someone on Instagram describe it as Stardew Valley horror, and obviously I am here for that. Right. There will also be Fear the Spotlight, a 90s style game with two teenage girls and a seance gone wrong. There will be Chrysal Theater of Idols, fighting possessed statues of saints in a nightmarish version of Spain. Sleep Awake, where people are disappearing in their sleep, so all of humanity is desperately trying to stay awake. And The Simulation, a fourth wall breaking murder mystery set inside a game whose events connect disturbingly to reality.
Nope. Y'all have fun.
We're gonna have a great time, Cameron,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have an entire episode talking about it, and you won't have anything to contribute.
Yeah, this is the
And
classic.
we're gonna have a great time.
Like Halloween week, you get me for one scary stream a year. Like,
Yeah.
that's all you get. Pick your one, and other than that, I wish you the best. Like, I'm happy you're happy.
Shadine and I are going to have a great time with all of the spooky games from Blumhouse.
I love it. I'm so excited for this. I'm excited for such diverse horror games to be coming out. Like, I love that they're all so different and that they're platforming a lot of different indie creators. Always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is something that I'd be very curious to see, like, if we're gonna see other studios get into, like, this type of idea of, like, Blumhouse is not making these games, like, they are partnering with devs, and like that seems like a really cool way. Like, there's already some like indie publishers that are companies that just help other indies publish their game.
So
and
basically
like,
an A24 for
exactly.
video games.
Exactly. Like, that's a great example, or a great way to say it.
If you want to watch an indie movie, you go to A24.
Yeah.
If you want to play an indie game, you go to blank.
Yeah, I would love to see other studios kind of get into this. I feel like if you're not a horror studio, though, like, it's kind of harder to have, like, what is your identity? Like, in terms of, like, all of these, as someone who never has and probably never will see a Blumhouse movie, Like, I know their identity, and all of this makes sense for what they're about. And I would love to see like other studios figure out a way of doing this, just as a way of helping indies like get their games out, because that's, I think, always like the best way to do it when it comes to like bigger companies getting involved in those processes. So. And I do need y'all to report on these games. Or if any of them are not actually that scary, let me know. I might try some. And so.
Will do.
For me, we got two pieces of news. The first one is pretty quick. Last week, we talked about Deadpool and Wolverine. Emma shared her impressions, having just seen it. I saw it opening weekend. Shanine, have you had a chance to see it yet? Okay. So we have all seen the movie, and it seems like, turns out, a lot of people have gone to see it. When we chatted last week, we talked about how it was on the rise and looked like it would become the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
It did.
And yeah, and I think like 2 days after we or like by like going into the weekend, I think it had crossed it. And so really excited for them. Take that, DC. Yeah. But really excited with how well that movie has done and how it seems to be clicking with a lot of audiences. Shanine, since I don't think you've had a chance to talk about it on podcast, high level, spoiler free, what are your impressions of the movie?
Spoiler free. It's not like the deepest plot and storyline, but it's just like a really good time. It's basically everything I wanted out of a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. It's super silly, super funny, super enjoyable.
It's just goofs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a time of having goofs.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah. I think that that's like one of the things that it does best is that it's not too worried about its own like world and its own plot. And I feel like because of that, it just makes sense. Like there's no like over explaining. There's no like granted, like as with most Marvel properties, it is built on the back of the other stories. Like it's built off the back of Loki and like stuff like that is built off the back of a lot of the other movies as well. And
but it makes
so it does have
that.
Yeah, it does have that going for it as well. But like, they're not over here like mumbo jumbo explaining stuff. They're just having fun. And so
I feel like we're missing crucial exposition here.
It's just a good vibe.
It's just a good vibe. I keep throughout my day-to-day life hearing Channing Tatum's Cajun accent in my head going, "Oh, I'm about to make a name for myself here." And it's great.
And that is one of the things, like, as we kind of talk about, like, the degree of cameos, like, we have, like, the Spider-Man No Way Home version, where the cameos are, like, the plot. And then you have the, like, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness cameos, where, like, this feels a little forced and like these characters are literally just here as fodder. And I'm definitely happy that like Deadpool and Wolverine fell much more on the like the side of these like cameos feel intentional and loved like from someone who loves the films and loves the IP and stuff like that. And so very happy that we got to see all of that play out. As Lim says in chat, so many Wolvies. Yes. Much Deadpool, mini Wolverine. And so, of course, we have had some conversations around that over in that Discord, so people can always hop in and chat about it as you get to watching. Other piece of news for this week, is that we got the announcement like literally right before podcast started. Shout out to Locke for posting this in the Discord. But we got the announcement that Acolyte has been canceled. There will not be a season 2. This is what I referenced at the beginning of the show when Shanine was talking about My Lady Jane having like a conclusion. And Acolyte definitely feels like it leaves off anticipating getting a season 2. And here we are. And so for people that don't know, Acolyte is a more or less a prequel to all of Star Wars, and is set in the High Republic, which is the era that takes place before the main Star Wars continuity. It follows a group of brand new characters as they go off, and of course, things happen. And so, has some fantastic scenes. I want to read this one quote from Deadline. I read this to Emma and Shanine before podcast, and I got to read it for the audience as well. The news is not entirely surprising. The Acolyte did okay with critics, with 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, but divided Star Wars fans. You don't say.
Shocker.
Yeah, a Star Wars project.
As I return with no audio issues.
Yeah, welcome back with no audio.
Thank you. I don't know how smoothly that went, but if it went great, I had audio issues.
Yeah, endure and survive.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
But yeah, I again, the number of Star Wars properties that have divided audiences is literally all of them after like
all
Empire. Like,
so many.
Yeah.
So much issues.
Yeah. So I'm personally really sad about this. I really liked Acolyte. I really liked getting something that's out of like the Skywalker saga as well, and kind of getting to meet new characters without going into too many of the general plot points. I liked the overall story that Acolyte told. And I wish that it would have been told better. Like, I guess is the way I want to say that. Like, there's definitely some episodes that are like big hiccups, and it feels Secret Identity. I think I remembered the name of the book that we read that I always use as my example of this, where like there's a mystery that you didn't know was supposed to be the mystery, because like it just is like how it's being told. It feels like they could have done that better to actually build up the reveals of, it's like, oh, it's clearly this. Like, I didn't know I was supposed to be surprised. Like, but in chat, Lim says, I don't know about that. Don't we all love Jar Jar? Yes.
So
Everyone loves Jar Jar.
That was initially my mother's favorite, and then she switched to Yoda. And she has a toy Yoda now, as in the car, that she calls her toy Yoda.
I've made my stance on puns well known.
Yeah. It was worth mentioning because of your puns.
Yes. They're not mine. I do not want any part of them. But,
they are all yours. Didn't you know that?
Have y'all had a chance to watch Acolyte? And if so, kind of what did you think?
No.
What do you think of this news?
I'm neutral. I haven't seen it either. Like, anything that isn't the movies side of things, I am behind on. Movies or the Cal Kestis games, because those I am hype for.
Yeah.
That is where my love of Star Wars exists, is in the Cal Kestis games.
Yeah. Entirely
those. That's where I turn into a Star Wars girly. So, the TV shows, I still haven't. I'm maybe 2 episodes into season 2 of Mandalorian, and that's it. Like, I'm neutral. I'm not surprised that it's split the fandom, because that's just been part of the Star Wars fandom since the beginning of time. basically.
Yeah.
I would be more surprised if everyone agreed unanimously on something in that fandom. Like, yeah, okay. Um, but it always sucks when something gets canceled that's part of a well-loved franchise. So,
This is why, as I've said before, when I am president of TV, every show will just get 3 seasons. And that's just going to be what it is. You pitch your 3-season arc, that's what you get.
Yep.
Like, how many episodes? That's the variable. But, like, every show gets 3 seasons.
And tactically speaking, / scientifically speaking, shows that are planned out for 3 seasons ahead of time and get their 3 seasons do better.
Yeah. It's almost like it's a common storytelling like way of telling a story that works.
Yeah.
And has worked for thousands of years.
Hey, it's almost like you have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
It's crazy, right?
And when you get all 3 of those sections together and don't have to cram them or fill them out, suddenly it's a good story.
Yeah.
Hey, would anyone like to see my master's degree? My very expensive piece of paper in this topic.
Yeah. The most expensive piece of paper, you know.
I will never mention it again.
That's the like. I spent a lot to get my name on a piece of paper. Like that's the. But.
I spent a lot of money to get a piece of paper that sits behind my files boxes.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
You do what you gotta do.
It is not on display. I have no space for it because all my shelves are nerdy.
Yeah, all like as we can see from your background, it's all geeky.
Yeah,
and
it's all geeky. It's all Marvel. It's all Switchfoot. It's all movies, posters, and things.
Yep.
Oh, and a dog.
A pupper.
There's a dog. There's a pupper. Hi, pupper. Yes, you're a pupper. Okay, continue.
So, I am curious to like what this is gonna mean. We do know there's some other Star Wars projects in the works. We know there are some that are like I think there's one in the works that's supposed to be about like the literal first Jedi. And I hope that this kind of that Acolyte not finishing strong doesn't dissuade them from trying those types of stories. Like that's always my fear with things like this is that like companies learn the wrong lesson. And I would not want like those projects to get canceled just because like this one wasn't like a slam dunk. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. And kind of side thing with this. Also, the Star Wars Outlaws game comes out in a couple weeks. And so very excited for that. Very excited for what's going on there. But that's our main news topics for the week. Announcement. Sorry, I just completely like lost track of what was going on. I saw my post-show chat note from last week and was really confused to what was going on, and I confused myself.
Oh,
but
the
we're back now.
Daredevil
Yes.
podcast? Yeah,
yes. Okay. So a couple things, announcements for upcoming stuff. Next Monday, we are going to be finally doing our updated tier lists for all the books that we have read on our book club. Lim, have a good one. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for bringing 11 Tiger. So we're going to be going through, we'll take our existing book club tier list, and then we are going to add to that all of the new books that we have read. I think it's 12 new books, but I could be wrong. And so we're going to take all of those, do our S tiers all the way through our Fs. And in fact, I can like throw up our existing our existing one for funsies as we. Yeah, we do have an F. I always forget because it's easy to forget. Masters of Kung Fu was not good.
F for fabulous.
And so we will be adding a bunch of new books to this. And then on Thursday of next week, we will be having our book club finishing up Hefty Tome Summer, where we will be talking about the second half of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Have y'all finished the book yet? Are y'all ready?
Oh
Nope.
boy.
So I am. Let me check my audiobook. I'm in chapter 64. So I am like almost done with the 70 chapter book. I gotta say, stuff's happening. Like,
Stuff's happening.
we got there. It took us 60 chapters, but like, plot is occurring. And so I'm very excited for us to come together and talk about that and kind of talk about this book as a whole after our book club on the first half. And so, and I'm excited for us to go through the predictions, see who was correct. And so, but that'll be next week. Let's head on, or ready to head on over to our post-show chat. As always, you can find us as OneGeek411. Join that Discord server. Shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. Check out that Redbubble store. Watch live on Twitch and YouTube Monday nights around 6:45 Mountain Time, and then next Thursday for book club. Then you can also find us on our social media, our personal social media. Mine is Humar Whittle.
Mine is I am not prepared with it. I'm the prepared.
Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES.
And it's been a great week.
Get a hug from a face hugger.
Read a book.
Don't get spooked.